Welcome to the Postpartum Coach podcast, where we embrace our needs as moms, we learn to lead ourselves first, then our families, and where we create our own healing from the inside out to find our way to the work we were meant to do in this world. I'm your host, a fellow mom of 3 and a certified life coach, Lizzie Langston. Hello, lovelies. How are you? This Wednesday, August 10th is the time we're recording this. It's like 9:00 p.m. and the crickets are chirping outside. And I'm more tired than I had hoped to be getting on the podcast tonight. I love to share with you guys my fresh go-getter energy, but I started my period today and the kids had swim lessons and we're still getting in the rhythm of school having just started less than a week ago. So that's where I'm at. This is your friendly reminder today. Make sure you have clean underwear because I had the total not fun inconvenience of not having clean undies today. And I gotta say, it's not a good time. So now all my laundry is in the laundry machine as I speak, I guess. But hey, don't put yourself in that position. I had a note literally to tell you guys that. You're welcome. I have been having such a good time. I feel so blessed and so it feels like the universe has been giving me such a big hug as we are getting ready to open this next cohort of the Better Than Normal Again 12-week program for postpartum women. We're starting at the end of August, and the 29th of August is the date I have set, by the way. And so right now is your time to apply. And also, once you apply, you can book a consult with me and we can chat and meet and get to know each other and talk about the investment and just make sure you're feeling great about everything. And all of that is at LizzieLangston.com/program, which I will put in the show notes here. But you guys, as I've been, the runway is open for this program to start up again. I've just been realizing what a special program it actually is. I've been having so many consults, it feels like. I mean, multiple times a week, talking to people, women and people signing up. Some people feeling like, they really want to, but now's not the best time or for whatever reason. And we're going to talk about some of those reasons today. I'm really looking forward to this episode. But I just am feeling very humbled, grateful, blessed, and so inspired with even more perspective of the glory of this program and the importance of self-advocacy so that you can get yourself the support that you want postpartum. And if that's my program, great. But if not, great. I just am really passionate. I've been doing consults, free consults with women from all over the world. I've had people book consults from Israel, from the UK, all parts of the United States. I might have had one from Australia. I can't remember. And in so doing, I've literally done over 100 consults, probably closer to 150 over the last 3+ years in business. And I've heard from women so many different things. And there's been easy yeses, like I'm totally investing, my partner's good to go, to really challenging, coming back to their partner over and over again, to continue advocating for themselves, and just recently had some really polar opposite experiences around different women advocating for themselves to their husbands or to their partners and having it go totally different ways. And it's just really caused me to reflect on the dynamics in our marriages, or if you're not married, in your partnership, your relationship with your other, right? Your beloved. And how that is actually a really big factor when it comes to getting help for yourself postpartum. When we think of getting support, we think, oh, well, do we need it? Do we have anxiety, depression? And then we think, well, what support is out there? But unfortunately, for some people, for some women postpartum, the issue of their marriage feeling imbalanced around money is something that might also contribute to whether or not they're able to get the help they want and need. And as women, we always create our reality. As people, as humans, we create our reality. Now, we don't get to choose other people's choices, but we marry or we engage in relationships with people that have certain baggage in certain areas. And our responsibility, it's not like it's our fault, right? We're not taking responsibility for other people's trauma, let's say around money, for example. Maybe your significant other is very tight around money, or there's a lot of trauma or scarcity or whatever it is. Or maybe you married an accountant. I feel like, and not all accountants are frugal and like that, but some people can be like that. And so no matter what your situation is, this is something that actually can come into the equation when it comes to getting help for yourself postpartum. And I feel like this isn't really talked about. And as the postpartum coach, and as somebody who's worked with hundreds of women over the years to help them advocate for themselves and get the help they intuitively feel like they need, again, no matter what that help is, I want to give voice to this topic. Now, before I dive in today, I want you to know I created a free 30-minute private session that's me and then you. Obviously, you're not on the session, but I run it like I run a private session. And it's all about getting you in the right space and in a good, calm, grounded space so that you can, number one, feel from your subconscious or your highest consciousness or your higher power, however you want to say that, so that you can feel and get in touch and connection with what do you actually need postpartum. I kind of help you. I do a meditation in the very first few minutes and kind of a guided clarity exercise where you can get clear on what it is that you want and what do you need for your help postpartum with your mental health right now or any other challenges. And then the part 2 of that 30-minute session with me, and this is totally free, I'll give you the link in the show notes, is going to be some tools and tips and walking you through some grounding exercises to prepare you to approach whoever you're going to talk about the investment with. If that's a struggle for you, or even if it's not a struggle for you, to just make sure you approach that situation in a way that feels good to you and that helps you follow through on what you're trying to get for yourself so that you don't back down or get scared or step away or minimize it or dismiss it or talk yourself out of it or all the things that we do as women. Or that other people sort of try to make us do sometimes so that they can get out of an uncomfortable situation, even if that's not their conscious intention. So on my brand new website, www.lizzielangston.com, I have a bunch of freebies listed right under the first page. Like you land, you see my picture and my title and everything, and then there's like, boom, freebies. And this one's called Gain Courage for Self-Advocacy. It's the third one, and it has a little picture of a heart made out of rocks in the sand. And I will put the link for that in the show notes because I think it's so important for you guys to have support. Now, another way you can get support is applying for my program, which is a free application. It's like 12 questions. And after you apply, you'll get a you'll get a link to book a consult. There's my 9:00 brain, guys. You'll get a link to book a consult with me. It's optional. You can just purchase the program. But if you want to talk to me, I offer 30-minute consults and you'll get an email to help you prepare for that consult since 30 minutes can go by quickly because I'm really passionate about supporting you in advocating for yourself if you need that support. All right. So let's go ahead and dive in. This is so good. So I've collected about 5 thoughts over the years that I feel like are the most common thoughts that come up on the woman's side of things like my client's side of things, when it comes to getting help postpartum, specifically around the money. And I want you to know that like about 80% of the people that have had these thoughts overcame them, had an uncomfortable but successful chat with their significant other, and they were able to move forward with coaching. The other 20% were able to have a very honest and open discussion and make breakthroughs and progress in their marriage and relationship, and then decided that maybe it would create more problems than solutions to invest at this price point at this time. Or maybe it wasn't the price that was a problem, it was just the timing or whatever. And so I want you to know that when I give this episode, I definitely don't believe that everybody should be investing in my program or that it's the best fit for everyone. But if you intuitively feel that, or if you've identified a source of support that you feel like you need to move forward with, I hope that this episode can help you with that. So the first thought that comes up is, and this is probably the most common, I don't want him or her, whatever, I don't want him to think I'm blank, like that I'm depressed or that I'm crazy or that I'm whatever, fill in the blank. I don't want my partner to think that I'm this. Here's my take on this thought, okay? You are already thinking that. So if you're, and this is a general rule for everybody, if you're ever saying to yourself, well, I don't want them to think that I'm greedy, all that that thought is telling you or revealing to you is that you have a belief in your programming, in your brain, in your subconscious mind that says that, let's say greedy is the adjective. So wanting to spend X amount of dollars on yourself for a program is greedy. Okay. It's selfish. Let's say that one comes up a lot for moms. So we'll say selfish. So when you are saying to yourself, I don't want my partner to think this, it just means that some part of you thinks that. And it doesn't mean that the most conscious part of you even thinks that. It just means that somewhere in your programming, at some point, somebody taught you or told you, or you came under the understanding that if you spend money on yourself, you're selfish. Or maybe I don't want him to think that I'm depressed. Let's talk about that for a minute, right? Which means that there's somewhere in you, you're either sensing that you are depressive and you're concerned about that, but maybe you're a little bit in denial about that, or you're kind of frozen with it. You're not sure what to do with it. And so you're kind of trying to push it back down under the surface. But if you're worried about your partner thinking anything, it's because it's in your psyche and you're actually projecting it onto them. Okay. So the reason that's nice to know is because then, like on the consult, for example, what we do is we spend time coaching you on your thought. And then what happens is all of a sudden it's not so scary to go talk to your partner about it because you've resolved it within yourself. You might feel still some scariness, like these conversations can be uncomfortable, but every good thing can be uncomfortable in order to get to it. So it's not a problem. And you can just prep yourself to breathe through any emotions that come up because it's just feelings. It's just literally vibrations in your body. Okay. One other thing I want to talk about here is, like when we're in the beginning of our mental health journey and we're still identifying what help we need or if we even need help, and we're kind of playing with this decision. Maybe we're feeling drawn to support, but we're like nervous about it or not sure, still deciding, whatever, marinating on it. We can be in denial, essentially. We can be in this habit of not being honest with ourselves and or with our partners. The people in our close circle that love us. There's this natural tendency, especially with depression and especially postpartum, there can be a lot of fear, like, will my baby get taken away from me if this comes out as depression? There can be shame that like, well, nobody else is struggling or my mom's just gonna not care that I'm struggling. People in my family just brush things like this under the rug. I don't know what to do. There's so many different, if you're a woman of color, you might be scared that you're not going to get the help that you need when you go into the doctor, or that there's going to be racist biases against you. There's so many obstacles to actually getting the help that we need. But what I want you to know is that part of the grieving process is denial, and it can be for many reasons, but it feels safer sometimes to keep the symptoms like secret. Doesn't it? I think it really does. And I think it serves us to some degree to do this. But it also can perpetuate the symptoms continuing to get worse and you feeling more and more scared and more isolated, which it creates the breeding grounds for the worsening of your symptoms. So another aspect of this is if you are hiding your real thoughts and feelings from the people closest to you, this can also be a trauma response and a part of a freeze response in your nervous system. Remember fight or flight or freeze, and there's other ones too, but trauma, your nervous system, basically your body's fear response. So you can still be functioning. It's called a functional freeze. You can be functioning in your day-to-day, but on some level, to a low level degree, somewhere in your body, you are alarmed about maybe the thoughts you're having or the feelings you've been feeling, and you don't know what to do about it. Okay. So a couple things how you can get out of this and move on and potentially reach out and get the help you need. Here's a few thoughts I want to offer you instead of the ones you might be thinking, because by the way, hopelessness and dread, all of that is actually normal. So here's some thoughts. Number one, there is nothing wrong with feeling the way you do, even though it feels wrong. Right? It doesn't feel good to you. It feels wrong to you. That doesn't mean it is wrong. So just because it feels wrong compared to your normal doesn't mean it's morally wrong or even mental and emotionally wrong to feel the way you do. So this may not be your normal, but it is normal for postpartum women. Number 2, just because you're scared of the way you feel and don't know if or how you'll get out of it, that doesn't mean that others are going to be scared by how you feel. That doesn't mean your doctor is going to be scared, right? We tend to project our own reactions and responses onto others. And our brain to try to protect us, it assumes that other people are going to feel the way we feel when we tell them or disclose to them about our inner dread or our inner anxiousness or our inner depressiveness. Okay. But that's projection. And so I'm just trying to help you separate that and get back to reality. That's part of the anxiety, right? Is imagining like somebody's reaction and all these things could happen. But you don't want your anxiety to be the reason you don't get help, because then you're just more isolated and more vulnerable with it and you have no help. So there are women out there who have felt this way and can help you. And I'm one of those guys. I really can help you. And so if you're not sure, or if you want help and you're trying to sort this out, apply for the program, LizzieLangston.com/program. You'll see the application button. There's no commitment when you apply, and that allows you to then get on a consult with me and we can talk through this. And then the third thought I wanted to offer is part of the baby blues or even postpartum depression is feeling dread and hopelessness. So I want you to say this to yourself. This is not me. Okay. The dread and the hopelessness is normal and it's not me. So these symptoms are in me, but they aren't me. I am not them. And these are part of why I need help. They are not evidence for how I'll stay this way forever. Okay. That's a really normal response, and it's really common to feel or think or imagine that you could stay feeling this way forever. So I want to validate that, but there is hope. And there are actually, I have a 3-step process: calm your body, calm your mind, calm your life. And you guys, dozens of women have left testimonials about it. You can go to my website and see testimonials all over the LizzieLangston.com/program page. The process really does help like 98% of women. There are some women who are so deep into the depression or anxiety that they really do need more hands-on help in a therapist or with a therapist or an inpatient facility. But a lot of women can really make a lot of progress through my 3-step process. Okay. The second most common thought I feel like that comes up when a woman is working on advocating for some support around her mental health, which, let's be honest, for most of us, postpartum is the first time we've ever invested in our mental health. We never really needed to before that usually. And so this common next thought is he'll say no, or she'll say no, or whoever you're asking about the money or co-investing with is going to say no. Okay. So think about if we believe that our thoughts create our feelings. Do you believe that? I believe that. Our thoughts create the feelings in our body. And the feelings are basically the energy that propels us into action, and the energy that literally feeds and determines what actions we will take, even down to the words we will say in a conversation, right? Think about if you were in a conversation with someone and you were feeling sadness, the energy of sadness, the low, heavy, inwardly drawn, energy of sadness, would you say the same words or even say as many words as you would if you were feeling happy or content, calm, excited? No, right? The energy in your body definitely dictates the things that you say. When you think the thought, he's just going to say no. They'll say no. They're going to say no. They're not going to want to co-invest or whatever, right? And maybe you don't even have to ask anyone. I pray and hope every day that all the women have their own money and can spend it on whatever they want to. And I think it's really valuable to still have conversations with those that you share money with or you really deeply trust or whatever, if you want to. Okay. And so when you think the thought, they're going to say no, then how does that feel in your body? My guess is you probably feel pretty shut down. And guess what happens? Then you don't even have the conversation usually. And what I notice is women start to talk themselves they start to try to make them think that themselves think that they don't need the help. And then you're on this surface level happiness until something triggered you or something goes wrong or you have a really hard day, then you get back down into the low thoughts that you kind of talked yourself out of when you told yourself the person that you wanted to talk about investing in would say no. But now you're scared and alone and feeling low again. And it's this pattern and this cycle. And so you can, like, anyone can think this thought, right? My co-investor person is going to say no, but it's going to lend itself. My prediction is that this will lend itself to a cycle. And each time you hit that low point in the cycle, it's just lower and lower and lower. And then it gets harder and more expensive potentially to get the help you need. And so this thought is not your friend. This thought is going to self-sabotage you. I want to invite you that there's an episode called 3 Husbands Perspective. I recorded it June 10th, 2021. That's when I released it. So it's the beginning of the beginning of season 2 on this podcast. It's like getting help postpartum, 3 husbands' perspectives. And literally these husbands talk, and it's really inspiring, and you can get a good, that's a good one to kind of go through with your partner if you want to invest and you're kind of concerned that they might not be on board. The other thing I wanted to say is when you think your partner's going to say no, is you would be surprised when you do the inner work to be very clear and connected with your intuition about what, like why you really want something. Your ability to energetically influence your partner is extreme. I think most women that feel like they have to ask permission of their partner to invest probably don't have a really, really deep connection with their intuition. Or they do, but they don't know how to access it in conversation with and in the presence of their husband or their partner who might have negative emotion around money, right? And who might have be upset or something. And so that's another big piece is on the consult that we do is making sure that we're getting your nervous system in a place where you're prepared to have a conversation no matter how your other person responds. Okay. The next main thought is the money is not mine. It's not mine to spend. So basically like he gets to decide if I get this help or not because I'm not in a position because I'm not making money right now. I'm on maternity leave or I'm a stay-at-home mom by choice, whatever it is. So the money's not mine because he's earning it and I'm not earning it. Here's the kind of snag in that thought process. And it actually took me a long time to even recognize this because I used to feel that way in my marriage. So the tricky thing here is that when you say the money's not mine, or when you actually believe that you need to ask permission and actually get a yes from your partner in order to invest in yourself or get the help you need, what you are not seeing and thereby devaluing and excluding here is your value as somebody who just gave birth to a child and is now spending time, valuable time, raising and being with that child, watching, safeguarding that child or children. I want you to talk about this with your partner just for fun. What do you guys think the monetary value of you watching your kids is? Like if you were not being with your child right now and you went back to work immediately, or you got a job and you guys put your baby in daycare and maybe your other children too, how much would you pay for that? That is the baseline value of your stay-at-home motherness, okay? Or your maternity leave-ness. And so when we say he needs to say yes, we're basically saying that we're bringing no value to this family. He brings all the value because he makes the money. And that is a very masculine viewpoint that we've been raised with, right? The masculine view or puts an emphasis on the material things we can count and measure. The feminine are the things we can't see and measure, like intuitive hits or connection, relationships. We can't really measure the value of a relationship, but we know that it has value. Money is very logical and real. It's real. You're able to count. I mean, all of the value is real. But do you see like the masculine way to view value is through money and the feminine is through other things. I'm kind of taking liberties here, but all of this to say careful, when you think the money's not yours, you are inherently devaluing yourself, which means that your marriage or your partnership is not going to feel balanced. And that's a disadvantage to you. And you're doing that through your belief process that the money's not yours. Now, maybe you have a partner who also believes that. And so you have to ask yourself, do I want to continue creating the result of having a partnership where my other person believes that the money is theirs and not mine? Do I feel safe in that? If anything ever changed in our relationship, to where I felt like I needed to get out, does that feel secure for me as a woman to believe that the money's not mine? How would you go through a divorce if you believed the money wasn't yours? Would you advocate? Would you get the money you needed? And I know these aren't fun thoughts to think about, but like this stuff happens. My mom actually ended up having to get divorced after, I don't know how many years, 30 plus years of marriage, 6 kids, because my dad developed an addiction of one kind that turned into an addiction of another kind and another kind. And eventually he just wasn't fit to provide for our family anymore. He was not honest anymore. He wasn't being the way that was my mom's expectations and the way she valued herself, right? He wasn't treating her in a way she valued herself. And I watched her really, really struggle with the whole money thing for a long time. And I'm really proud of her. She broke so many generational patterns. But like, we need to know how to handle money and have a say and advocate for money. Okay, off of my soapbox. The money is yours because it's ours, because it's shared, because you share a child. And so therefore there's shared responsibility with the money. Okay. The next thought, I don't want to rock the boat. Like this one, I don't know if it's necessarily a conscious thought, but it's kind of more of a dance we do as women. It's like a nervous system dance we do. Like, oof, I don't want to rock the boat. I don't want to start a new problem. Now, you always have the option to avoid as much as you want to. Like, I have no judgment. I have for sure avoided plenty of conversations with my husband. To this day, there are probably things I'd like to hash out with him that I just not there yet. So I'm definitely not saying that anybody here right now needs to go have this conversation. But, and there is, by the way, I do want you to know that if advocating for yourself and talking about an investment and then investing in yourself is going to create more problems than solutions, more problems than the solutions of coaching could provide, then maybe it's not the best choice, or at least not right now. But if you feel that you're a little bit avoidant, again, just notice, how does this thought make you feel, right? Because you're only as powerful as your emotions are, and your actions can only be aligned with your emotions. And so the thoughts are feeding your emotions. How does this thought make you feel? Or any thought like it. I don't want to rock the boat. I don't want to have an argument. I don't want him to be mad at me. I don't want him to get upset. I don't want him to think I'm da-da-da-da-da. I don't want him to think I'm selfish, whatever. How do those thoughts make you feel? Are they empowering to you? Right? Because when it comes to making a change in your mental health and healing your body and your mind, you're going to have to start thinking differently now. The change actually happens in your thoughts about money and about healing and what's possible. And then when you come into my program, I give you the thoughts that will actually help you heal your body. They can do that. But first, you have to get yourself there with these thoughts, changing your thoughts about the way that you perceive an investment in yourself, maybe possibly for the first time in your life. And again, the free consult is totally there for you too if you want more help, as well as the free 30-minute video that you can download and for free. I'll put that link in the show notes. It's just at www.lizzieLangston.com. All right. And then the fifth and final, and then I have some self-advocacy tips. I have 3 tips and some miracles and inspiring stories. This could have been like a 2-part series. I feel like it's getting long, but this is so good. The fifth thought is, I don't want to take away from my family. This one's tricky. It's a sneaky thought, because who would want to take away from their family? The question is that what we're doing here? When you invest in your mental health, are you actually taking away from your family? Money might be leaving your bank account, right? And so this thought is definitely emphasizing and focusing on that piece of it. But remember, there's always an exchange. What are you getting instead of the money? This thought, I don't want to take away from my family, is not allowing you to focus on the abundance coming into your family in exchange for money. There are some things that are so much more valuable than money. I don't know how to measure the value of coaching and good mental health. There's no monetary value for good mental health. Millionaires, multimillionaires, billionaires pay crazy amounts of money for good mental health because there is no value to it. It's beyond any dollar amount. So again, coming back to this thought, I don't want to take away from my family. You're only seeing one side of your exchange. And so it's kind of skewing your perception of what's actually happening here. This is not even a truthful perception. I don't want to take away from, right? Investing in yourself is never going to take away from your family. It's always going to give back to your family 100% of the time. And how much it's going to give back is something that you can start, look at the value of this podcast. Has it helped you? For example, with my program, right? Or whatever the help you want, how much has their free content helped you? How much has it? If it's helped you 10%, then you can expect about 100% help when you invest at the next level, or at least 50% or more. So just consider that as well. Okay, let's move into the self-advocacy tips. And now, again, some of these are in that 30-minute session, and I walk you through it nice and slow. You can pause it, review things. So I definitely recommend downloading that if this is an area of interest for you. The first one, and I literally had somebody ask me on a consult, how do you suggest I have this conversation? I really, really want to invest in this program and whatever. The best thing you can do is calm your body and attend to your nervous system. Okay, so most of the time women are like, okay, I need to plan what I'm going to say and stuff, but really your intuition will feed you the best words. You just need to be connected to it. Now, if that's too hard for you or unfamiliar with you, you can make notes for sure. I wanted to make a note here that if you just can't get calm in approaching a talk about money with your partner, it could be that there is true mental or emotional abuse happening. And it doesn't mean that your partner's trying to abuse you. It could be completely unintentional and not even about you. And it could be related to their own trauma around money or whatever, baggage that they might have. But if there are aggressive verbal or physical habits such as yelling or gaslighting, which is when you kind of confuse someone out of how they're feeling or try to get them to think that they're wrong or that they're not actually feeling what they feel, so that they stop asking the question. It's a form of manipulation so that you don't have to actually change anything about yourself or your thought process. And it's a method of control. This actually happens in people's relationships. And so just be aware that maybe you're not able to be calm because there's some relationship issues that need to be resolved so that you can feel more safe in your relationship, so that you can have conversations about investing in your mental health postpartum. So calm your body and attend to your nervous system before you have the conversation. That's going to be really, really helpful. Going on walks, doing some yoga, anything that helps you get into your body, meditation. The next thing, breath work is another thing. Okay, the next self-advocacy tip is get in touch with your intuitions. And I already said that one, but have reasons to present to your co-investor. So whether you're asking, your mother-in-law for some help financially, or you're asking for a loan, or you are using your own money and just counseling with your partner about that expenditure, have some reasons ready. How do you think this is going to help your relationship together? How do you think you getting support is going to bless your entire relationship? How will this directly improve your partner's life? And how might this also be an investment in your children? It totally is also an investment in your children. So start to look for some evidence of that. How is this going to bless your children and the generations that follow? And number 3, let your partner have his or her feelings, okay? Let your partner have their own feelings. You cannot go into this conversation and you cannot want them to be, to have no confrontation or no big feelings come up more than you want the program. Now you get to decide what is safe, or the support that you've chosen. You get to decide what's safe for you. And I don't want you to, I really trust whatever you think and feel is safe. I know that you know the best course of action. That's why I say, maybe my program's not always the best fit. Maybe it is. But what I do know is that you can get what you want. Okay, a couple miracles and inspiring stories to send you off with. Are you ready? A client of mine advocated and her husband was a no. She boldly and lovingly confronted him and asked him some probing questions just about like his family's history with money and what he was feeling. And he was able to be vulnerable and tell her that he was feeling scared. And he was able to share some fears around money. And together they were able to realize that if she didn't invest and he continued to have those hesitations around money, it wasn't going to create the legacy around money that they wanted. And so he was able to confront his stuff around money, and she was able to move forward with coaching. So that can be the power of you guys really like continuing to advocate for yourselves. I had another mom get a job in the evenings at Walmart to cash flow her coaching, to just kind of like avoid having to convince her husband, or I think he was just like not really whatever. And so she totally loved that and actually loved that time in her life. We just talked about it recently. I met up with her. One mama bravely asked her father-in-law to pay for the program. He had mentioned when he had noticed, she had talked openly about her struggles postpartum with her mental health. And he'd said, hey, I'm happy to help you get whatever you need. And she took him up on that. And so the feminine is receiving, right? Masculine is giving, feminine is receiving. That doesn't mean the feminine can't give. I'm not saying men and women. I'm saying the feminine energy is reception. So, last but not least, I wanted to share a little letter I got in my email from a client who invested in herself and found some help, but it was after a lot of conversations with her beloved around investing, and also her getting really real with herself, that she really actually did want support and really getting clear. So it was kind of a longer letter. I'm just going to skim here. But she said, hey, Lizzie, I just wanted to let you know what's been happening in my life. I've advocated and advocated and asked and asked. I was so bummed when I kept coming to my husband and getting the answer of no for further therapy or coaching. And she just got really creative and thoughtful about how she could make something work. And she said, I just wanted to preface this by saying thank you so much for the 12-week program and the tools we have learned. She was in this last cohort of it, and for your podcast and for the world of healing that you introduced me to. I have delved deeper into scriptures and prayer and counseled with God about my situation and my desires in a much different way than I ever have before. The one thing that stuck out to me about our coaching and the consult and group calls we had was the fact that we can and we do have the ability to bring exactly what we need into our lives. I put my intention into obtaining further help from God and further help to God and to myself with no strings attached, not thinking about how I want it to be or how it should be, coaching with you more specifically, because that's what she wanted to do, private coaching after the group ended. But she and her husband just didn't feel good about it together, both of them. And then she said, I started to see the path forward. And I felt to just have a little bit of faith and patience. Things started to feel good or not good, like doors opening or closing. And it was sad when I searched deep inside and found that further coaching with you wasn't my right answer, but that working with you did get me to exactly where I needed to be. And lo and behold, I started to process things little by little on my own. And when I really needed it, God put exactly the resource I needed right when I needed it in a place I never would have thought to look. And I just want to acknowledge and thank you for the part that you played in getting me where I am today. Thank you for holding space for me and for helping me find and learn the tools I needed. I really can't express the gratitude that I feel, and I really just wanted to share with you the cool things that have been happening in my life. There's still so much to work on and improve, but it doesn't seem as impossible as it used to, and I can see myself taking amazing steps. So in this case, working with me was not the right fit for her, but she continued to believe that she can and does have the ability to bring exactly what she needed into her life. And she worked with her higher power, and she manifested hope or she manifested help and a resource that was the right fit. So you guys, I truly believe in the power of women to get what they need and what they want. And I have seen miracles, you guys. I have seen miracles with people, with women getting the help that they needed. And like a lot of the time it's me because these people are interested in working with me. So that's who I'm talking to. But some of the time it's not. And whatever it is for you, I just want you to know that I'm here for you. My 3-step process works. We'd love to have you in my program. It starts the end of August. Go to LizzieLangston.com/program. Get ready to change your life, to change your marriage through the decision to invest in this program. And I can't wait to talk to you on your consult. Apply on my website, LizzieLangston.com/program. The link's in the show notes, and we'll talk next week. I love you.